Welcome to Lickin' on Lending, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of the mortgage industry. Your host, David Lickin, bringing you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. Whether you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, this show is your go-to source for all things mortgage. Let's get started. This is Lickin' on Lending. Now your host, David Lickin.
Listeners, we have a real treat. We've got Garrett Locklear back. He is a top loan originator producing over $100 million a year. And he also is the creator of one of the most exciting technology projects that really help originators leverage their time and originate more in less time. And there's no better poster child for that than Garrett. Garrett, good to have you back.
Thanks, David. Thanks for having me.
You bet. You originated $100 million a year last year, and you say you did it only spending 2.5 hours per week. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't sound possible. How did you do that?
It isn't possible unless you have the right people in place, you've got the right process and system in place, and you've got the right amount of confidence, but also discipline.
So when it comes to the word discipline, included in that is the tools that you got to have. So one thing is having tools, but if you lack the discipline. Talk about, what does a day in the life of Garrett look like to originate $100 million?
Every day is about the same. I spend most days, all hours of the day, working on the creative direction of Candid, guiding the development teams, and has nothing to do with originations. And then twice a week, I'll meet with my team who originates the mortgages. Most of the time, we spend joking around and cracking up. And once in a while, we mention the word mortgage. But my team runs the entire show. It's really a team effort.
I think that's the most important thing. You're surrounded
with the right people.
You've really surrounded yourself with some really strong people. I'm excited about what you have accomplished. I'm really excited about what you've accomplished with Candid. We've talked about this before, but you've recently made some significant enhancements to the system. I want to start by talking about automated calling. This is getting a lot of attention out there right now because you're able to duplicate yourself and be able to make a lot of calls out to consumers, realtors. Talk about what Candid can do. Others are talking about it, but yours is pretty exceptional in the way you go about it.
Yeah, you're talking about voice AI, which is one of the sort of new frontiers of AI, a wrapper around AI models, using it for voice. And I think there's an incredible amount of opportunity for AI in general. But I think one of the errors that we make is we want to take AI and take it to the 10,000 foot view immediately and go crazy with it. And I think just like how we started Candid about 6 years ago, start super simple, really basic. Because
let's go right there. Let's talk about that journey that you've been on. When you started this thing simple, you said it earlier, we were talking, that you started this by Candid because you wanted to send out birthday greetings. Am I correct?
Yeah, it was. So I took 6 months as a loan originator about 8 years ago to go out there and look at all of the vendors that I could go and pay money to use their systems. And I looked at everyone in and outside of the mortgage industry. And after literally 6 months, I was a little annoyed because I would find a vendor, they would say all in one, I check out their system. They did a couple of things really cool. And then the other 99 things I needed them to do, like they either didn't do or it just wasn't great. And so I made a decision at the end of that to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go build my own thing. I didn't realize where that decision would take me, fast forward 6 years to today. But that decision was a moment in my career where I said, you know what? I think as a loan originator, I can build something for loan originators myself a lot better than a really talented developer could who's never originated a mortgage. And the first thing that it did, as simple as it sounds, is it sent out a happy birthday email.
Simple beginnings, but it's really grown into something significantly greater, which is gets back to the point where you're able to originate $100 million in only 2.5 hours a week. That is really something that most originators are going to hear and find very difficult to believe. But it is possible when you have the right systems, right disciplines, and the right people.
The right people.
Yeah, when you're talking about people, we hadn't talked about this, but I want to go into this. How do you select people? You have a unique process when it comes to selecting your team.
In the early days, honestly, I just recruited from church. It's a great place to recruit from.
You're a musician. You're in a worship band. I know all of that.
That's
You
right.
probably had a little bit of
The
that's
first
where you started.
the second guy I ever hired, his name's John. We still work together almost 10 years later. We were both playing in a worship band together. He played the keys, I played the electric guitar. And I said, hey, you have zero mortgage experience, but I think you're a good guy and I'd love to work with you. And the rest is history. And John literally runs the entire show now. He does pipeline reviews. He handles front end. He handles back. He does all of it. And I think an important part of that is the amount of time that we've worked together. I've seen it over and over again where a loan originator will hire someone. It's a bad hire, bad personality fit, and it'll go sideways very quickly, 6 months or so, maybe 12 months. And then they'll say, you know what, I'm never doing that again. And that's over and over again. They go through that cycle. And so they can't grow because they just simply haven't hired the right people.
So here's a question. Are good employees created or are they found?
I think it's both. You can't, when you hire someone, there are things that you can't train. Morality, integrity, always doing the right things, that type of thing. They either have it or they don't. However, there are things you can train. What's DTI mean? What's LTV mean? How do I explain escrow to a client? Those are easy, right? But if you don't get the basics in hiring correctly, then you'll never be able to train someone to, hey, always do the right thing. Here's how you treat someone. Here's how you treat someone who said they're not going to use you as their lender. They're going to use someone else. You still treat someone with dignity and respect in those scenarios.
But leveraging technology has got to be one of the biggest game changers, a huge part of it. Once you get the team in place, once you get the disciplines in place, then it really does. This has been going to be a game changer, and we're literally going to see companies succeed or fail based on their selection of criteria, the technology they use, and the actual utilization of it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some. You've landed some pretty good sized clients. Kind is in there, Lower's in there. Talk about some of the others that have found the value in Candid and what has been the criteria and the reason for them selecting Candid.
Yeah, and we've had really good and exciting partnerships form, especially in the last 12 to 18 months. You mentioned Lower, Jet Home Loans, Acrisure Mortgage is another one, Kind Lending, another great company out run by Glenn Stearns. But what these companies are realizing is the idea that the mortgage industry has bought for a solid decade or two now of a tech stack, meaning I have a need, therefore I'm going to go find one vendor who fills that one need, and bolting on or screwing on or sometimes duct taping on these vendors to tech stacks. That worked up until a few years ago. But now, especially with AI and AI only being as good as the data behind it, now we're seeing some really big problems with these fractured tech stacks and these data silos because AI simply doesn't work when your data is siloed. And so
That's a really good point. I want to emphasize that point that you just made. When your data is siloed, in other words, it's resident in multiple systems. It's not in one place. AI finds it very difficult to work. And that's what's
exactly.
Your system actually replaces, was it 5, 6 other technologies?
There's now over 40 technology offerings in the mortgage space that our system will
40
not just replace, but enhance. And I say enhance because if your systems aren't intimately talking to each other, and the reality is they're not, we have APIs, but they never perform to the depth that we need them to. So if your systems aren't intimately talking to each other, then there's already an enhancement opportunity there to be had. A great example is, let's say I'm a loan originator, I have a client, and I want to send them some options, some mortgage options. And there's tools out there to be able to present your mortgage options to them. But you have to template in your numbers. Sometimes you just type in your numbers twice, etc. That's an inefficiency. Even if it only takes 5 to 7 minutes. If you're sending out 200 mortgage presentations a year, you just wasted 1,000 minutes of your time. And with Candid, you click, we call it scenarios, but you click new scenario and it literally populates everything except 2 fields in your mortgage presentation because we already have the data. And you can apply the same concept to AI. If you just prompt AI and you say, write me a newsletter, it'll just output wild things. It doesn't know who you are, it doesn't know who your audience is, what do you want to talk about, the tone, etc. However, if you have all of that data already behind your prompts, then it can nail with incredible degree exactly what they want, what you want that newsletter to look like for the audience, what you want it to say, what's the call to action, and so on.
So when I look at the data all in one place, all of a sudden you're starting able to do things like these newsletters, which is really where I wanted to go with this interview with you. You have a new feature inside of Candid that creates newsletters. This is something that most of us start thinking of. Oh, I know the importance. I know, I'm sure it would be good, but does anyone ever read them? Number one. Second of all, they're generic. Do they really apply? You've taken an approach that is very unique and it's very powerful. Like I'm not seeing anyone else do. Talk about that.
Yeah, as a loan originator, I've always appreciated what the point of a newsletter, but I've always felt that they fell short. And we really didn't have an answer to that feeling up until about a year or two ago with the introduction of AI capabilities. But if you think about traditionally what a newsletter is, it is copy that has a few merge fields in it. So I can put your name in there, David, and maybe even what city you work in. But everything else in it is generic. If you're a realtor working in a high-end market in Miami and you sell a bunch of condos, you get the same newsletter as a realtor working in East Nashville with historic homes. And those are two different trajectories and two different realtors who have pretty different needs. And so I'm communicating the difference and the sort of shortfalls of a newsletter, but they're still important. So what we've done is we said, hey, newsletters are important, but our audiences, whether it's a realtor, a lead, a past client, our audiences are pretty wildly different. And
based on locality, like just even within one city, like
location.
Yeah.
What's going on in their neighborhood, what their business is, their personality type, what's the weather for that time of year? Did they just get a wild storm a few days ago? Wouldn't it be nice if the newsletter mentioned that? And so we put this idea down, took it in front of our development teams, and have been grinding away at, hey, how can we leverage AI to significantly enhance the newsletter experience for the mortgage industry? And just last week, we launched it. And the results and the outcome, I'm personally blown away with them. If you have the right data behind AI, what you can do with it is just incredible. So think about my earlier example. You have a real estate agent here where I'm at in Nashville. Let's say they're not just in Nashville, because that's a pretty big market. They're in East Nashville, which is a sub-market. And not just any real estate agent, but one who really loves to flip historic homes. Like all of a sudden, you're getting all this data into our proprietary AI models, and it's researching this very specific audience. It can find their most recent transactions, what's going on with their social profiles, all of this data, consolidates it in seconds, and then presents it to a copywriter to write this newsletter and present to them the moment they say, yeah, I'd like to read that.
So again, there are no copywriters. The system is doing that all
Correct.
Internally. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I know this is something that's a new feature. It's upcoming, but I do want to get into it. It's nice to read a newsletter that's written to my personality type. I love studying personalities, whether we're recruiting, how we talk to one another. If I have insights to how Garrett's wired, which is you're a bullet guy, you very much of a high D.
Right.
That's also known as a cleric in personality. But Ds want things in bullets and factual. Where someone like myself, who is more of a sanguine personality, more of an influencer, tell me a story. Wrap the bullets in a story.
Right.
Where stories probably annoy you.
Where's the point? Let's get to it.
Get to the point, Lickett. Come on. That's why I do podcasting. I like the story. I love storytelling.
No, you're spot on.
If you were a podcaster, all your podcasts would be 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3,
or less.
4.
How about 2?
But talk about that, because you are now being able to not only design a newsletter, write a newsletter without any intervention, because of the data. It's all in a central place. So it's pulling that data out, and it's now going in and writing a specific newsletter using the East Memphis or East Nashville market, as you were talking about, versus the West or any other market. And now you're able to design it to that person's personality.
Yeah, and think about that. The attention spans are at an all-time low. I saw 8.25 seconds was the average attention span.
Wow.
Just last week I was reading on
It could be a lot shorter for me, actually.
Yeah, probably about 4 seconds for me.
Yeah.
But if you present to me a newsletter, like you were saying, and it's got big, bulky paragraphs, I'm shutting it. I'm archiving it. I might even unsubscribe.
You're not going to go to read it. Yeah.
I'm never going to read that. But if you present to me as a personality type D on a disc scale, a newsletter that has, let's say, an opening sentence, but then bullet points where I can really get the data and really quickly, I'm going to check it out.
You're more apt to read whatever else is in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's the point of a newsletter? You want someone to read it. You want someone to engage with it. And if you have a call to action at the end of it, you want them to do something. And if you can, again, understand the personality type, leverage AI to write for that personality type, then you can take what is historically a pretty low open rate, low engagement rate newsletter and 10x the value of it just by bringing in this data and then writing it for the audience.
Or the audience. So one of the things we had talked about earlier is there's SEO. Everyone's talking about search engine optimization. That has been the buzzword. How do I get to the top of a Google search? That is no longer valid. It's still there, but it's diminishing in its importance. It's now GEO, which is generative engine optimization. Talk about what is that about? It involves AI. If you could give our audience a little insights into that.
I'll give you an example. Last night, I needed to book a rental place at the beach. I'm going to take my family there for spring break. And 10 out of 10 times in the past, I would have gone to Google. I would have Googled where I'm going and found websites and started browsing through them. I didn't go to Google at all last night. I went to ChatGPT. It found the property, not a website. It found the property that I wanted. I clicked on a URL. It nailed what I was looking for, and I booked it. And that's the same challenge that loan originators are facing. Instead of SEO, you're correct. People are going to ChatGPT and other models, Claude, Gemini, and they are asking for what they need. Top loan originator in my area, top mortgage broker in my area, so on and so forth. And these models, what they're doing a lot of times, especially to find queries like that, is they're going to, let's say, a loan originator's website. And if you have recent blogs, especially recently dated, recently updated, with valid information specific to a market, not generic, then that gets bumped up with these models.
Going back to that's really important because you were saying if you're looking to market to a East Nashville realtor and that's the market, you're going to write that differently to specific to that. And you put it into a blog, it's going to be looking for that. And I was at the Sales Mastery, which again, I recommend that conference to anyone. Todd Duncan, the team there put on amazing. They've been doing it for 24 years or something like that. And Tom Ferry spoke there and he says, let me tell you, you should be writing a blog every single day. And a lot of people say, why? No one's going to read it.
I don't have that kind of time.
No one has the time to read it, but guess what is reading it?
Yeah, exactly.
ChatGPT. And that's the point of when you're creating the importance of what you have created with your newsletters and now getting it tailored down to the geographic information and then getting it even further into the extent that
and here's a wild idea that I have that actually works. You mentioned Tom Ferry. These coaches, they have hundreds of thousands of hours of videos online that large language models train off of. And so an idea I have is, hey, in this newsletter we're writing specifically for real estate agents, what if I said to the model, I want you to give, based on all this data I have for the real estate agent, I want you to give me 3 of the best business tips you can in the voice of Tom Ferry. And at the end of the newsletter, in the voice of Tom Ferry, it'll give them the 3 top things they should be working on for this month based on the data that we pulled in. Their social profiles, their volume, the markets they're working in, what's going on with the markets, days on market, average purchase price, all of it. It's like Tom Ferry's whispering in their ear, but through our newsletter.
It's
wild.
It is wild. The concept is just out there. And this isn't fantasy.
No, we're delivering it today.
You're delivering that today. It's amazing. I get so excited about Candid. I get so excited about you, Garrett, and what you're able to do with just looking outside the box. And it's saying, why can't we? How many times are you and I on a phone call, and you go, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Or I've got this lady I see. You're always bouncing ideas off me. What do you think about this? And I said, you can do that? And you go,
it's just wild what you can do today. And this is just a piece of Candid. Because remember, The vision of Candid is to be an ecosystem, to be able to allow a loan originator to have one login to go to their point of sale, their CRM, their content cloud, their client retention cloud, all of this wrapped into one, their text messaging components, their emailing components, how they manage all of their pipelines, how they manage their entire day. One login for all of that, and trying to help mortgage organizations take these tech stacks, which has just become bloated with costs and inefficiencies, and be able to eliminate big and major chunks of them.
Yeah, I look at what's possible now and where we're going as an industry. Then you say, a lot of people say, yeah, but I'm heavily invested in, I've got a Salesforce. I'm heavily invested in my Salesforce system. I can't afford to make a change. To that, you would say?
Oh, I love to hear that, because people who are already familiar with Salesforce, it's a much easier conversation. We're a direct seller of Salesforce licensing. So we come in, we say, hey, you actually don't need to pay those Salesforce licensings anymore. You don't even need to change your CRM anymore. We'll take Candid, which is an application that sits on top of Salesforce, install it on your instance and start building out from there. But instantly, you've got a decade's worth of top tier development available to your loan originators and your marketing team. We have a recruit cloud as well. You have it available to your recruiting cloud as well. All of this instantly available rather than you'd have to continue to go out and build a very expensive setup.
Well, Garrett, kind of kudos to you for what you're developing. I got a feeling there's a lot more to come, knowing how your brain works. It's just getting more and more exciting as we work with you. Thank you so much, folks. Check it out, candid.inc. How can they reach you? Is there what's the best way for people to reach out if they want to have a conversation with you?
Yeah, go check out candid.inc, and you're welcome to email me, Garrett, at candid.inc anytime. Love to meet new people, engage with new customers. We're having an awesome time over here.
It's fun to see it growing and doing so well. And others, some of the leaders in the industry, are already picking up, and I know you have a lot more in the pipeline. Congratulations on your success. Look forward to having you back here soon.
Thanks, David.
Folks, I hope you found this podcast interesting. There's a lot of things happening in the marketplace, and there's other companies doing really innovative things, like our newest sponsor, TitleEase. We're going to have them on. We're going to be talking to them about their innovation. Also, Byte Software, First Close, Angel AI, which is reinventing the entire mortgage lending process, True.ai, Candid Inc., Mortgage Bankers Association of America, Lenders One, Modex, Redder, Mortgage Advisory Tools, and Fuel. Be sure to check out these sponsors on our sponsorship page. We're grateful for them. Thank you for being here. Have a great day, everybody. Look forward to seeing you back here next week.
You've been listening to Lickin' on Lending. Our passion is to bring you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. So on this show, if you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, it's your go-to source for all things mortgage. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon. Take care, and we'll see you next time on Lickin' on Lending.